Tonight, tens of millions of Americans are under flood alerts as a powerful storm slams the East Coast. Could it impact your holiday travel plans? Roads turn into waterways and strong winds knock out power to 250,000 people.
Just driving a regular sedan, that wind's going to be potentially pulling your vehicle, so just be careful.
Growing pressure tonight on Israel, including from the United States, to scale back its offensive. And we're in Gaza with an inside look at a massive Hamas tunnel.
You can just see how wide this tunnel is. For starters, you can drive a small car through it.
This is the biggest tunnel that we found ever.
Ever?
Ever.
I am the only shot you have.
Breaking news, the Marvel star just found guilty of assault and harassment. How much jail time he could face. The major recall of popular granola bars, what to look for in your pantry, and a record-breaking $1.1 million. That's the hefty price tag of one of Princess Diana's dresses. Good evening to our viewers in the West. I'm Nora O'Donnell, and thank you for being with us. We want to begin with that dangerous weather that is sweeping large parts of the country. Hundreds of thousands of Americans from New York to Massachusetts and Maine are without power tonight after that massive storm battered the Northeast with those torrential rains and wind gusts of up to 90 miles per hour. 2 people were killed by falling trees in New England. In Michigan, look at this. This intense system causes massive pileup on Interstate 94 near Kalamazoo. Near whiteout conditions and blinding snow caused multiple crashes, leaving cars and people stranded. So from the road to the skies, major disruptions at U.S. airports today, more than 4,000 flights delayed and more than 500 canceled. You could say it's a rough start to the holiday travel rush. Meteorologist Mike Seidel with our partners at the Weather Channel will lead us off tonight from Boston.
Tonight, a powerful storm packing 60-mile-an-hour winds and heavy rain continue to wreak havoc across the Northeast. Waist-deep water in New Jersey, firefighters taking people to safety. Near Boston, flames shot out from a downed power line, and in Queens, New York, a massive tree fell onto Catherine Papapaolis' house. No one was hurt.
The house has some damages, but it did not came into the house.
Oh my God! Students in Campton, New Hampshire were dismissed early as floodwaters from the nearby dam started to rise. It's the same storm system that slammed into the south this weekend, dumping more than 10 inches of rain. An EF1 tornado touched down near Myrtle Beach, and winds up to 90 miles per hour tossed cars and turned businesses and homes into debris.
Once we came out, one of the trees just started cracking like it was a little stick, and it falls on the corner of the house.
Some people in South Carolina had to wade through the water in a paddle boat as the storm brought record-breaking rain to the city of Charleston. As warmer ocean and air temperatures continue to fuel storms that are wetter than ever, inland and coastal communities across the country are dealing with more extreme flooding and damage. According to a recent study, in the last 2 decades, more than 3 million people have left high flood risk areas. At the peak of the storm, over 700,000 customers were without power, some still in the dark as the storm passes through. Back here in Boston, peak winds were 68 miles an hour. There was a southeast wind. That's why we had the record high of 63. Meanwhile, this major storm is taking its leave away from the Maine coast tonight, leaving a path of destruction from Florida all the way into New England. Nora?
Mike Seidel, thank you so much. Well, for more on what's to come, including colder temperatures and snow, let's get the forecast from Weather Channel meteorologist Mike Bettis. Good evening, Mike.
Nora, good evening. Obviously, weather has been a major factor across the Northeast in particular today, but there are improvements on the way. The entire system is on its way out. The rain will be leaving. The snow eventually will be dying down as well, and those winds in particular will be coming down pretty significantly overnight tonight. There's the snow that remains in the morning, especially off of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, but some areas here could pick up another 5 to 8 inches of snow, then down through the mountains of West Virginia as well. Because we've had so much rain, dozens and dozens of rivers expected over the next 2 days to be at moderate or major flood stage here from around the tri-state area all the way through northern New England. And then to the west coast we go. 2 different rounds of storms come in. One comes in now, one comes in later in the week with incredible amounts of rain, especially in California, and widespread snow. That includes the Colorado Rockies and the Wasatch, Nora.
Good information, Mike Bettis. Thank you. Well, this storm has many holiday travelers struggling to get to their destinations. And we also learned today about the record fine that Southwest is paying for last year's holiday travel meltdown. What does it mean for you? Here's CBS's Mark Strassman.
As airlines get ready for a week of record holiday travel from Boston to Baltimore, Monday had its stumbles. But today's disruptions are a blip compared to last year's fiasco by Southwest Airlines.
I literally slept the whole day inside airport. Not fun.
The airline froze during a pre-Christmas winter storm. Nearly 17,000 flights canceled, 2 million passengers stranded. Today, the DOT fined Southwest $140 million for consumer protection violations. That's 30 times greater than any previous similar fine.
This was a historic meltdown, and we believe there need to be historic consequences.
Southwest will pay the U.S. government $35 million and set aside another $90 million in travel vouchers for future passengers delayed 3 or more hours. Add this punishment to more than $600 million Southwest has paid already in refunds and reimbursements.
We need to make sure that the fines and penalties aren't just a rounding error or something they kind of figure into being the cost of doing business, but are actually a reason to do business differently.
Airlines have made changes to avoid similar meltdowns, not overscheduling and improving operations.
I think we are in a better place now than we were going into Christmas 2022. Are we as good as we need to be? Perhaps not.
Southwest says it has spent more than $1 billion upgrading software and technology, and its CEO has promised this will never happen again. The DOT's message? It better not. Nora?
Mark Strassman, thank you so much. There's some breaking news tonight about actor Jonathan Majors. Marvel Studios just dropped the once rising star after a jury in New York found him guilty of assaulting and harassing his ex-girlfriend. Marvel was building a movie franchise around Majors before his arrest in March. CBS's Jerika Duncan was in court today for the verdict.
Tonight, Jonathan Majors walked out of court with heavy security after being found guilty of assault and harassment. He was acquitted of 2 other charges that required prosecutors to show Majors intentionally committed those acts.
Do you think your son got a fair trial?
The 34-year-old star has dimmed since he was arrested in March after a fight with his ex-girlfriend, Grace Jabari. He played roles in Marvel films and Creed 3, but it was his performance in the TV series Lovecraft Country that made Hollywood take notice. During deliberations, the jury asked to re-watch surveillance video from the incident in slow motion, where it appears Majors shoves Jabari into a black Escalade. Another video shows Jabari running after Majors following the incident. She testified she grabbed Majors' phone after seeing a text message from another woman. In a criminal complaint, Jabari accused Majors of assaulting her, leaving a cut behind her ear and fracturing her finger. CBS News legal analyst Ricky Kleeman.
That Jonathan Majors did not intend to cause any physical harm to this woman. But what Jonathan Majors did, by virtue simply of his actions, his size, his strength, was create a substantial risk of physical injury.
Majors and his family did not speak to the media as they left the court today. Grace Jabari, who was not in the courtroom when the verdict was read, did release a statement saying she was, quote, gratified to see justice served. Majors faces up to a year behind bars, nor he is scheduled to be sentenced on February 6th.
Jerika Duncan, thank you. There's news tonight about that driver who crashed into President Biden's motorcade. The Delaware man is now charged with driving under the influence. Video shows the president appearing stunned by the crash. He was less than 200 feet away. No one was hurt. Today, President Biden and family members went to church, marking 51 years since the president's first wife and 13-month-old daughter were killed in a crash with a tractor trailer just a month after he was first elected to the U.S. Senate. Top members of President Biden's national security team are overseas tonight. The CIA director is in Poland meeting with Israel and Qatar in hopes of restarting the negotiations for releasing hostages held in Gaza. And there's news out of the Pentagon tonight and a new U.S.-led international operation that will aim to protect commercial ships in the Red Sea. CBS's Rami Inocencio has the latest developments tonight from Tel Aviv.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin landed in Israel for his second visit since Hamas's terror attack on October 7th and minced no words.
This is Israel's operation, and I'm not here to dictate timelines or terms. America's support for Israel's security is unshakable.
But there's less certainty about how Israel's military mistakenly shot and killed 3 hostages last Friday. The IDF released photos of the SOS signs they made from leftover food and admitted they were shirtless, carrying a makeshift white flag in their last moments of life. Their 3 grieving families buried their sons, while tonight 3 more hostages have appeared alive in a new video released by Hamas. In the middle is 79-year-old Chaim Perry.
Every day is a death sentence to them.
Lior Perry is his son.
Are you angry?
My anger only aims towards my government.
The White House is raising concerns tonight about the deaths of 2 Christian women sheltering in Gaza's only Roman Catholic church. The Archbishop of Jerusalem says the women were killed by Israeli soldiers, which the IDF denies. The Pope has weighed in, calling it terrorism. Urgently needed aid is beginning to trickle into Gaza again. Israel reopened its direct crossing at Kerem Shalom, as desperate Palestinians ransacked a UN aid truck crossing in from Egypt into Rafah. Now the chaos of this conflict threatens to expand as oil giant BP and other shipping companies say they are pausing all transit through the Red Sea after recent attacks on ships by Iranian-backed Houthi rebels.
And those diversions will have massive impacts on oil prices and supply chain costs. And in response, Defense Secretary Austin has just announced a new international coalition to help protect commercial ships sailing on the Red Sea. Nora.
Ramy and Asensio, thank you. And tonight we're getting a look inside what Israel says is the largest tunnel troops have discovered inside Gaza. It was previously estimated that the vast underground system used by Hamas was about 60 miles long. But Israel's army now believes it's actually more than 300 miles long. Here's CBS's Charlie D'Agata.
We passed into Gaza with Israeli soldiers through the ruins of the once heavily fortified Erez crossing.
There are several layers of security as you cross into the territory. Blast walls behind us. A lot of them have been shot up and destroyed, including the observation posts and towers.
This is what Hamas did.
Less than 500 yards away from that crossing, Israeli forces discovered this. A megatunnel, walls and ceilings of reinforced concrete, pipelines for ventilation, a web of cables carrying electricity and communication system wiring.
Careful here.
And deep.
We're probably already 40 or 50 feet underground already, and as you can see, it just sinks down into an abyss. We're told this is one of the longest tunnels that they have found.
More than 2.5 miles long, wide enough to drive a small car through. Allegedly doing just that, the brother of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar, shown driving through the tunnel in IDF handout footage. Hamas released video of the tunnel saying, "You arrived too late, mission complete," allegedly showing surprise ambushes and the abduction of Israeli hostages. The subterranean network shows the complexities in searching for hostages among Hamas, says IDF spokesman Daniel Hagari.
It means hunting them down and finding them wherever they are, inside the tunnels and above the ground.
Does that carry risk for the hostages that are being held?
I think we are managing the risk.
He said once they're satisfied the entire tunnel has been cleared of hostages in Hamas, they plan to blow the whole thing up. Charlie D'Agata, CBS News, inside Gaza.
Back here at home, with less than a month until the first votes of the 2024 presidential election, Donald Trump used his latest campaign speech to praise multiple authoritarian leaders and, as his critics put it, echo the racist rhetoric of Adolf Hitler. CBS's Ed O'Keefe is following the backlash.
Former President Donald Trump's comments about immigrants came Saturday night in New Hampshire.
They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They poison mental institutions and prisons all over the world, not just in South America, not just the 3 or 4 countries that we think about, but all over the world.
President Biden's reelection campaign denounced the comments, saying Trump parroted Adolf Hitler. The Nazi leader criticized the mixing of races in his Mein Kampf, arguing the originally creative race died out from blood poisoning. The former president also praised authoritarian leaders, including Hungary's Viktor Orban, China's Xi Jinping, and North Korea's Kim Jong-un. CBS News has asked the Trump campaign for comment about the reaction to his remarks. Among Trump's GOP opponents, only former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie strongly rebuked him.
He's disgusting. And what he's doing is dog whistling to Americans who feel absolutely under stress and strain from the economy and from the conflicts around the world.
But Trump continues to dominate because GOP primary voters generally back the idea of mass deportations the former president supported and view immigration as a key issue.
Having a porous border is leading to a lot of problems. It's creating an unsafe environment for our citizens.
CBS News has learned last week the Border Patrol apprehended nearly 7,900 people each day, up from 6,000 in October. The White House now deep in negotiations with Congress. A compromise could include expelling migrants without processing their asylum claims and expanding the detention of migrants allowed to stay in the U.S., pending a decision on their cases. And now some border state governors are taking aggressive steps to address illegal border crossings. In Texas, Republican Governor Greg Abbott today signed a bill authorizing local and state police to arrest migrants believed to be in the state illegally. While in Arizona, Democrat Katie Hobbs has deployed National Guard troops to the border. Nora.
Ed O'Keefe, thank you very much. Well, an extraordinary sight today at the U.S. Supreme Court as a flag-draped coffin holding the body of the late Justice Sandra Day O'Connor lay in repose in the court's Great Hall. All 9 current justices and retired Justice Anthony Kennedy stood solemnly, paying their respects to the court's first female justice. O'Connor died earlier this month at the age of 93. Her funeral is tomorrow at the National Cathedral. In a historic move today, Pope Francis formally signed off on allowing priests to bless same-sex couples. The landmark policy stopped short of approving same-sex marriages, but allows priests to bless the couples as long as it isn't a wedding or civil union. The Pope says people should not be deprived of a blessing and subjected to an exhaustive moral analysis. Border Patrol officers make a spicy discovery in San Diego. What canine dogs helped sniff out next. Investigators say a propane leak likely led to a deadly hotel explosion in central Pennsylvania. The blast leveled the front office of the hotel in the Amish-related tourism area in Lancaster County. The person killed has not been identified. The hotel owner says there were no guests present since the hotel is typically closed the week before Christmas. Police dogs sniffed out a spicy discovery near the U.S.-Mexico border in San Diego. Customs and Border Protection officials say more than 3,000 pounds of methamphetamine and cocaine were hidden inside bins of jalapeno paste. The drugs had a street value of more than $10 million. The driver of the tractor-trailer was arrested. Check your pantry. Dozens of popular breakfast and snack products are recalled over a potential health threat. That's next. Quaker Oats has issued a nationwide granola cereal and granola bar recall over salmonella risk. The company has pulled nearly 90 varieties off store shelves, ranging from chocolate chip chewy bars to apple cinnamon puffed granola cereal. It's still unclear how the potential contamination occurred. Quaker Oats says so far it has not received any confirmed reports of people getting sick. You can go to cbsnews.com for more information. A dress worn by the late Princess Diana fetches a king's ransom at auction. We've got details next.
If you can't watch the CBS Evening News, you can listen. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
We end tonight with new evidence of the popularity of Princess Diana more than a quarter century after her death. An evening dress first worn by Lady Di in Florence, Italy in April of 1985 was sold at auction on Sunday for more than $1.1 million. That is 11 times its original estimated value of $100,000. Diana wore the dress a second time to the Vancouver Symphony Orchestra in 1986. The sale to an anonymous buyer nearly doubles the previous record price for one of Princess Diana's dresses. A fitting tribute to a beloved icon. And that is tonight's CBS Evening News. I'm Nora O'Donnell, and we will see you right back here tomorrow. Good night.